Welcome to the Women in Tech podcast series, brought to you by Wisconsin Tech Month. This series is all about shining a light on the women who are driving change and breaking barriers in tech. Each episode is about celebrating their journeys, successes, and the impact they're making in our industry. Let's hear their stories.
So I actually was a special education teacher working with students with emotional and behavioral disabilities. And I had the opportunity to go to a conference that was focusing on technology for special educators. And at the conference, I learned about a whole bunch of things, including ways to use iPads for students who struggled with reading and to have auditory content kind of read in and flipped to a QR code for my students. And I went back and talked to my SPED director and said, hey, this is what we could do. And he was super supportive. And so the rest was sort of history. I started using iPads in the classroom and QR codes and learning about all of the things that technology can do for individuals with disabilities. And I've never looked back. It's hard to say if it's been significantly different than if I hadn't been a woman. What I can say is there's not, in the educational world, there tends to be more women in education and in special education than men. In the technology world, there seems to be more men than there are women. So it's been very interesting kind of navigating that because I'm a woman coming in from the technology end of things. So I'm working with more men in that space. But when I'm talking to educators and in that space, I find more women. So it's a very interesting play between the two. This was an interesting question when I was thinking about it because, from a challenging standpoint, obviously leaving the school district and going out on my own, creating a business from the ground up in an area where there really isn't anything. There's not a lot of models doing what I'm doing, at least in the area that I live. So there wasn't a lot of people to reach out to and say, hey, how does this work? Where do I start? How do I handle the contracts? How do I figure out the funding pieces? There's a lot of businesses that do pieces of what I do, but in the assistive technology space in Wisconsin, there's not a lot that aren't direct vendors that are more working with all different types of tech. So that was probably one of the biggest challenges. From a success standpoint, just amazing people. I have met so many amazing people that are ready to share ideas and bend over backwards to help me help other people. Constant change and challenge. I love getting to learn about what is new out there and then sort of breaking it. So I have the unique job as, working in assistive technology. I'm not always using technology in the way that people are expecting it to be used. I'm always trying to figure out ways that this technology can help someone with a disability do something they otherwise couldn't do. So oftentimes a device or a tool or a technology is designed with one particular use in mind. And then I come in and look at it and go, but I could also do this with it. And so I'm always the one contacting developers and things and saying, well, have you thought about using it this way? So I love all of the variety and all of the unique things that are out there and how fast it changes and how much I get to learn. And then, how I get to take things and twist them and change them just a little bit. Go for it. Don't be scared. Don't be hesitant. Don't sit and wonder what if. Give it a shot and try it. Just like when you're teaching someone a new device, you give someone a new phone for the first time. And one of the first things I'll always say is you're not going to break it. Hit buttons, see what happens. And the same thing, if you're entering the tech space and you're passionate about it, give it a shot. Go out and talk to people. There's so many people out there that are willing to share ideas and help you, and dive in. you're not going to learn by wishing. So give it a chance, talk to all the people. And most people are really excited to share what they know. So ask them questions. You're going to find that people are a lot more willing to share than you're expecting them to be. So the easiest way to probably reach me is email, because I tend to be traveling quite a bit and I don't answer phone calls that don't come up with a caller ID that I recognize anymore. Too many spam calls for that. So the best way to reach me is probably email, and that's going to be Cassie at innovate-at.com.
And that's it for today's episode of the Women in Tech series. A big thank you to our guest for sharing her story and inspiring us all. Make sure you check out all of the amazing things that are happening during Wisconsin Tech Month. There is so much to discover, from workshops to panels to networking events. Stay connected with our incredible community of tech leaders and innovators throughout the month of October. Thanks for listening.